Hi, welcome to Nick and Nancy's Crafts. Today we're going to be making a face mask, and this is a 3-ply face mask. So you've got the front layer, and then you've got the second layer, and then in the middle is for your filter, which we usually use a piece of flannel, but you can use a coffee filter or paper towel or whatever you want to. And then it's got a piece of metal in the top for the bridge of the nose. Very nice mask to wear, very protective. Okay, first of all, what you're going to need 3 pieces of material. I use an outer quilter's cotton for the outside, and then the inside are old sheets, just 2 pieces of an old sheet cut up. The size is an 8 by 10. 8 by 10 piece of fabric for all 3 layers. Okay, what you're going to do after you cut out your fabric, your top fabric that's going to be on the outside, and then your 2 inner fabrics, which are going to be your inside of your mask, you're going to go to the iron and iron them flat. Okay, first we're going to do the outside one. It's usually a steam iron, but it's up to you what you want to do. Okay, outside one. Oh, the corner's not. Get a little better job on the corner. Okay, now we're going to do the insides. Now all of these masks you can wash them by hand in warm soapy water after you wear them, or you can wash them in the washing machine and then just leave them hang to dry. Alright, once you get the 2 inner layers done, you're going to put them on top of each other, and then what you're going to do, you're going to fold them in half like this, and then you're just going to crease them down the inside. Now it's ready for the sewing machine. Alright, so once this is ironed and you got your crease in there, you're going to open it up, and then I usually pin it on both corners, just 2 corners I usually do, just so it doesn't move around in the sewing machine. If I can get the pin in there, it's a tough sheet. Must be a great thread count. All right, now what you're going to do, you're going to take a ruler and you're going to measure down about 3 inches. You could just mark it with a pin going across, or you can actually sew or mark it with a pen or a pencil. So 3 inches on both ends. All right, go to your sewing machine, just a straight stitch. I go in a little bit because I'm going to sew it, and then I'm going to go back stitch. And you want to sew right along the crease. And you're going to sew up to your pin. And now you're going to backspace. And then I usually lift up my foot, and then I come tug on your thread a little bit, and I go all the way down to the next pin. Get on the crease again. Start sewing. Go back stitch a little bit, and then sew all the way to the end, and then back stitch. And that's what you do for the inside of the mask. Okay, after you take it off your sewing machine, you're going to want to cut these threads. Cut any threads that you have out. Get them out of the way. All right, and then take out your pins. Do the back side. Cut those threads, especially the center thread. Take out your pins again. and get ready. Now we're going to be ironing again. Okay, so now we've got the mask that we just sewed. We're going to lay it down on our mat again, get ready to iron. I usually iron it flat, quick. And now what you're going to do, you're going to take the top layer, fold it up over top of all that, and now we're going to iron that down. And then what you're going to do, you're going to flip it, take the top layer of this side, flip it over, and iron that down again. And that is how you create your little pocket. So, the pocket's right there, and that's going to go on the inside of the mask. All right, so now we're going to sew the mask parts together. Okay, you take your outside layer and you want to make sure it's face up, so the good side's facing you. Then you're going to take your mask pocket thing and you decide which one you want. I think I'm going to use that for my inside. So that goes face down, the inside mask part, and then you're just going to pin those two together. Sometimes, because it's heavy cotton, and this is a very, very good sheet, I think. Okay. After you get the four corners pinned, or at least close enough, we're going to go back to the sewing machine and start sewing the mask. So, sewing machine's right here. All right, I usually start on one of the shorter sides. I go in about the width of my pressure foot. So that's about maybe a quarter of an inch, maybe a half an inch. And then I start sewing down the side. Now, sometimes if you want to, you can go, go backwards again. But I usually just do straight across. And then pressure foot down, needle down, and then go down the other side. Remove my pin. Pressure foot down. Looks like I may have to backspace a little bit there. Turn it. Go down the side again. And then go down the last side. And this is where I backspace, definitely. All right. Then that's it for now. Okay, after you're done sewing, I usually take out the pins, of course, and then snip the corners just a little bit, but you don't want to cut into your stitching. Get all those corners cut off. And if it seems like the material's too bulky, I usually go down and just cut off some of the material. So when you turn it, it's not too bulky, especially the ends, because you're going to be sewing those again. And then the scraps I usually save and stuff my pumpkins. Or stuff anything else you make. Okay, once you have that done, you're going to be turning your mask inside out. And this gets a little tricky. I try to get it out as much as I can and get my corners kind of done, but I've got a tool for getting the corner points out a little more. All right, this tool, or you can use a pencil, you can use anything that's got sort of a sharp corner thing on it. So you can just poke out that corner so it's a little not so rounded. So all of our corners are poked out. And next we're going to go to the sewing machine again, or I mean the iron again. Okay, so now after you've finished sewing it and turning it inside out and getting your corners, you're going to iron it. Iron it on this side. All right, now what you're going to do, you're going to take the ends and you're going to fold the ends down maybe about 3/4 of an inch, I want to say, about that much. And then you're going to press that down. And then you're going to do the same thing with the other side. I suppose I could measure that so you exactly know how much. Let's see. Yeah, it's about 3/4. 3/4 of an inch. Give it a good steam. Now what you're going to do, I usually clip these down, but first what I do, I use t-shirt yarn for my inside ties, for the ties of the mask, but you could use any kind of cording that you want to use, but I usually use this, and I usually measure out about maybe 55 inches of it. So I'm going to measure some. I don't like the way that end looks, so we're going to go like that. 36. We're just going to give it another 20. No, maybe that. Well, that should be okay. 20 inches, okay. And then you're going to cut that off. Now, what you're going to do, I usually lay this out. I don't need my mat anymore. This would be the part that goes around your neck, and this would be the upper part. I lay it, my yarn in between the fold, and then I use those little clips I can't remember what I did with the little clips. Okay, my little clips to clip it in place, so when I sew it I can remove the clips and I'm okay. Now if you don't want to do it this way, you could still sew down the side, and you could use a you could string the yarn through probably with a small pin, or you could bend up a coat hanger and use it as a hook, or if you have a Tunisian quilting hook, you could probably drag it through with that. All right, I'm going to put one in the center just to make sure I've got that cording down. And then we're going to go to the sewing machine. All right, now what you're going to do, put it underneath your foot, and I'm just going maybe not too far in, because I don't want, I want to be able to, in case that cording breaks, I want to be able to remove it. So maybe about 1/8 of an inch in, and then I'm going to start sewing, and now I'm going to definitely backstitch. Remove my pins as I go along, making sure I'm not sewing over top of that cording that I put in there. then when I get to the end, I'm going to back stitch again. Okay. Now I can cut that part off and go to the other side. And do the same thing again. Start down, remove my pin, start sewing a little bit, back stitch, sew down, making sure I don't touch the cording, back stitch, oh, I think I'll sew all the way there, and then cut that. Oh, maybe it's not. Now what I do, all right, this is the part that goes around your neck, and this is the top. What I do now, I make a little pocket, maybe going down the width of the pressure foot, because that's going to be where our metal piece goes. And you want to make sure the open ties are where you put it. So now I go down, back stitch a little bit, just the center. I just want to be able to slip that in here. And then cut your thread. Move the sewing machine away. Now I've got cut the rest of my threads off. Oh. I can trim up the rest of the threads in a minute. All right, so now what you're going to do, I use the tops of the coffee bags, these little wire things, but you can also use a pipe cleaner. All right, any kind of pipe cleaner will do. All right, but with a pipe cleaner, you're going to fold it in half and then shove it through that hole. But I'm going to use one of these for Nick's mask. I'm going to go up through my pocket. Sometimes I have to bend it a little bit because it is a kind of long piece of wire. Go up through the pocket and then get it down that little channel that I made with my sewing machine. Work it down in there. All right, so then you have your nose pocket. And that's your mask. Okay, with the mask, with these two ties, you can either knot these up if you're going to use it as a tie mask, or what I do, I could put a toggle on this mask, and I could, I would usually tape these together so I can get it through the toggle, and that's what you do. I'll have Nick demonstrate how to put it on.
Alright, now I'm here and I'm going to demonstrate how to put on the mask. So, first of all, the inside here, where you see the filter, you're going to put that around your neck like this, and then you're going to cinch it up really tight. More tighter than this. You're going to make sure that you put the coffee filter right up tight to your nose. You're going to pull the toggle back as far as you can. And now if you see this, you can barely get your finger in there, and it's protecting you a lot more than a lot of those other masks that aren't very tight, because bacteria can get out of the sides, and the bottom is tight too. So that is how you put on the mask. Thanks for watching, and come back for another episode of Nick and Nancy's Crafts, maybe next week or sometime soon. So anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.